So I'm excited. We just completed the Dueno eulogies. So now we're going to move back into dialectic into dialogos. And I think what we talked about is doing it on wonder. Which is interesting because it's not, I don't think wonder is considered a virtue. So I think that's just interesting in itself of just to do it on something that's not a virtue. I guess you can see it as a virtue. I wonder about that. Maybe we'll explore that. But I would love to start off as the scribe. And so just to go over it again for everybody, somebody makes a proposal. The listener is there to midwife and draw out the fullness of that proposal. The scribe will track, right, the content of each proposition as it changes through the inquiry. And at the end, the person who is listening will say what they appreciate about the proposal and the dialogue, what they anticipate, where, in other words, where is it headed in some sense, right? And then what is it that is still mysterious or missing? And then that person as a listener shifts and they become the proposer. And then somebody will be the listener, and we'll just go around. We'll go around like that. So I'd love to be the scribe first. Who'd like to be the proposer?
I don't care. Sandra, what do you want?
I'll be the proposer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Find my pencil here. Just one moment, I need to find my pencil. Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Wonder is a natural and primordial state of being.
Wonder.
I would say maybe it is the natural and primordial state of being.
So wonder is not a, but the natural and primordial state of being.
Yeah, the birthright of being, as it were.
The birthright of being.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by the birthright of being?
It when being comes into being, it comes with this wonder as an integral quality of itself.
I repeat that. If being comes into being, that is also birthing wonder at the
Yeah.
same time.
At the same time, yeah. So in essence, the two are wedded.
Two are wedded.
They're unified.
Wonder
Mhm.
and being
And being, yeah.
are
Mhm,
wedded together.
mhm, mhm.
When you do this, how does this feel?
Um,
This wedding, how does this feel?
well, it feels like wonder and being mutually and reciprocally support each other in uh, in providing the base for an opening up, for a manifestation of of wonder and being, for so the it feels, yeah, it feels like this provides an opening up as being and wonder move in the world.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's
Mhm.
a movement of wedding, this mutual being wedded together, and
Yeah.
an opening.
Yeah. Mhm. And because of this initial um wedding of being and wonder, there is the capacity for both to open up fully and manifest fully in the world. Yeah,
Mhm.
that it feels like that. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out.
I'll just repeat what I've
Yeah.
heard. By being mutually wedded together,
Mhm.
only through that reciprocality, only that then also gives the opening where both being and wonder can really come about as
And blossom,
yeah.
blossom, and blossom. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if I would use the word only. There may be other things, but right now we're talking about wonder, and yeah.
I'll just
I'm actually happy with that. I think that's a good start.
okay. I'll just repeat the initial statement or proposal.
Mhm.
Wonder is the natural and primordial state of being, the birthright of being. Are you happy with that?
Um, yeah, I think, like, for me, it's an important kind of, like, to flesh that out. It's an important thing to look at the fact that they have been wedded together.
Mhm.
And that's why it's the birthright. So with that background understanding, the proposal, as you said, is fine, but I want that background understanding to be, a kind of, understood, basically. Yeah.
So you would like to bring in this weddedness aspect into the proposal in somehow.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I have the two proposals, the content was wonder. It started off with wonder is the natural and primordial state of being. And then you kind of in some sense summarized it by saying wonder is the birthright of being.
Mhm. Yep, that's fine. That'll
Okay.
start. Yeah, we'll start with that.
Great.
See where that goes.
Now I will do the appreciation.
Mhm.
I like about the birthright because like when a baby or a fetus is in the womb, they're also kind of wedded together. They're kind of like, you cannot draw them apart. Kind of like they share a kind of substance, let's say, they share a common substance or substrate. And that's why I like the birthright. And then it was cool that this brought us to this weddedness. And I also appreciated that at the end, what you said, the blossoming. So the kind of floral aspect of this, there seems to be like almost like with the Greeks, that always the tree comes. Like for some reason, always we talk about the tree, the idols of the tree, and that in this here, that the thread of intelligibility led us to this kind of like to this floral image. So I when you said blossoming, I really had a tree or a kind of a beautiful flower in my head. And that's just a wonderful image. Now, what's mysterious? What's mysterious in the proposal itself is, for me, the word state is a little bit calling out for mystery, because I don't think it's just a state. It's more like a process, a kind of ongoing, like this birthing is going on all the time. Like it's not just a state. So one is not just a state, but there's more dynamic. I feel there's more dynamic behind it. Yeah, but thank you. Was good.
Thank you. I may have to stop for a minute to calm my little puppy down. My neighbor got off the car.
Okay, cool. I'll pause.
Yeah.
All right, Daniel. So you ready to propose?
Yeah.
Yeah. Am I the educer guy?
I think I'm the
Or you?
educer now.
Okay, good.
So I'll just listen here to the kind of like what my body tells me. Wonder is the ongoing birthing. No. The birthing of being is tuning man into wonder. Wonder is the tune. I want to say the tune of the birthing of being.
Wonder is the tune of the birthing of being.
Yeah, so birthing has the kind how things come into be,
Mhm.
how things kind of like the shape or the pattern, the form they grow into or they are becoming, that has a kind of tune or rhythm behind it. And wonder is just that, I want to say almost wonder is that tune, like also when the man can tune into that,
Yeah.
becomes aware of that, this
Yeah.
birthing of being.
Yeah. So when man tunes into that tune that is native to beings becoming or beings birthing, when man tunes into that tune, that is that man in the state of wonder. When man tunes into that tune, is that attunement, is that wonder? Or is wonder the becoming of being in this?
It's the attunement, but I want to play with attunement and draw the tune of attunement.
Yeah. You want to play with the tune and draw the tune of the attunement.
State is too, that's too kind of it's almost too psychological for me.
Yeah.
Attunement is more like is this being wed, this weddedness of man and world, this mutual weddedness. And then what the tune allows is this reciprocal opening, just that Sandra also described, just opening.
Mhm.
So
Like
weddedness, when you went like this weddedness, and then you went this opening.
Yeah.
This weddedness seems, it looks like there's something to do with concealment and then unconcealment. Is that part of the tune?
I don't want to say concealment, more like growing into each other, kind
Okay.
of like being reaching out into man and man reaching into being.
Yeah.
And then in that coming together, we open up, being opens up, wonder opens up. And that's all of that has a kind of tune. And wonder is somehow that tune. And
So there's this kind of primordial relationship I hear you drawing out, right? Where being reaches into man and man reaches into being.
Mhm.
And that dance or that play, right, has a tune.
Mhm.
And so being, or so wonder is it fair to say that wonder is that attunement?
Mhm. I almost want to say wonder is the tune of the musicality of being. That
Oh.
You said the attunement.
the
The
tune.
tune of the musicality of being. So wonder is the tune of the musicality of being.
Yeah. yeah, I'm happy with that. That conveys this kind of dynamicity that I want to include in my proposal.
Yeah, so wonder is the tune of the musicality of being.
Mhm.
Okay, so are you
Yep.
satisfied with?
Yeah, I'm happy with that proposal. It's a good
Okay.
proposal.
Mhm.
And what makes it good is it points to the dynamic or emphasizes the dynamic quality of being.
Mhm.
Wonder is the tune of the musicality of being. So really quick, a tune. What is a tune? Like I kind of know what a tune is. Like there's the tune of the music, the tune. It's is the tune is that the thing that kind of holds the harmony of the music? Tune, does that point to the gestalt of the music? Let's say musicality. What does that mean actually?
Mhm.
Because you could also hear it's like, oh, I have a tune stuck in my head. Could it could refer to the whole song? It seems like the tune of the instrument kind of has a sense. It has a gestalt of the feel of the whole or something.
Mhm. Yeah, tune is because I wanted to play with attunement, right? So attunement is like somehow the whole is almost, I want to say, is like all of the whole world is suddenly not colored. I don't want to say color. I don't want to bring it down to colors, but there's a nice is just attuned, is tuned through. The tune goes through everything, through the
Okay.
whole. The tune is like something like a pattern that you can notice everywhere. Something like it's like a color that you see everywhere.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
that make sense? And then an attunement is just this tuning. Man is
Mhm.
tuned to being, being is tuned to man. And then they are in this attunement.
Yeah.
There's again this weddedness. But the tune is somehow maybe pointing to the gestalt, so that which kind of like exceeds and homes and organizes all the parts.
But is it reductive? Like the tune isn't reducible to any one of the parts.
Yeah.
It runs through all.
Yeah, it runs through all things. It's like it's running through is good. This thing that I had in German in my mind is this going through character, like the through line. Like bringing that in.
I got this sense that as you're talking, like something caught.
Mhm.
Like I felt like you just got a lot more animated and stuff like that. Something just caught. Did you have that experience?
Yeah.
I feel something's catching in some sense.
Yeah. So something caught. Yeah.
Yeah. Like and that thing that caught, right?
Yeah. And I want to say the through line is also not just static, but the through line is like a line on a piece of when you write a music piece. You know, when you write what's it called? You know, when you the partition.
Mhm.
There are also these lines, but they're in a sense they're not that the through line is not static, but it also has a kind of musicality.
Mhm.
Oh, okay, so you mean the lines on the sheet of paper that you put the notes on?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, got it. Okay. Oh, interesting. Interesting. So you're saying that it is that tune, for example, so I can get at this, that tune, when that changes, right, or shifts or alters, right, and the tune alters, what you're saying is that shows in some sense the musicality of being, right? So wonder is the tune or that line, the through line of the musicality of being.
Yeah.
Would would it be wonder is attunement into the musicality?
Yeah, that's also good. I wanted to play with tune because
Yeah.
tune has these, it's tune and attunement. It's both of them, and I just want to play with that a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a quality of like tuning into something. Like if my body just knows what that means. It's like
Yeah.
tuning, right?
And then for man, what's also implied is like you have to listen. Because when you're
Yeah.
tuning in, you really want to listen, and there's really you have to make an effort to kind of listen,
Yeah.
so you can cultivate an ear for the musicality of being. That's also kind of like, you're not just, the wonder doesn't come from itself. Sometimes you have to really like cultivate an ear. You have to become a kind of connoisseur. Otherwise, we don't.
Just got exemplified here, like that thing that just caught, right?
Mhm.
Animation started was like, in some sense, we attuned. Is it fair to say we attuned to it?
Yeah.
And it lit up. And now, so wonder is the tune of the musicality of being. So when the tune isn't, just so we can get some contrast with this, like when the tune isn't one of wonder, what is does that mean that the musicality of being withdrawals or becomes not apparent? Like, is it like that there's a musicality of being, and that wonder, right, is when we attune to we attune to the tune of I don't know, the fact that that being is a musicality, and so its musicality, right, shows itself as the through line through everything, and everything dances, right? There's the miraculousness of being, that there's musicality. When we're not attuned,
then we are in the negation. Then we are in the cacophony. Do you know what cacophonia is? Like this is like a
cacophonous.
Yeah. There's the likelihood for a cacophony. That's that there are places where there's just a cacophony.
Yeah. What's cacophony? I'm not familiar with that.
It's just a chaotic mixture of sounds and
Oh, okay. Okay. So now I just really heard that. I'm appreciating that. So like in contrast to that, in some sense we say, well, what is it that makes sound music, right? There's when I participate in the tune, right, to the tune of the sound, in that moment the musicality starts to show a being, right? And that attunement reveals itself as when I am in wonder. There's a comportment I'm comported in such a way such that that's all that sound that's not heard, or it's just noise, or it's concealed. When I attune to that, I'm attuning to being addressed by the musicality of being, right? And I get a feel about it, like as you're talking about it, like in that music was in some sense already happening, but I was not attuned to it.
Yeah.
Right. So that attunement reveals a music that was already there in some sense, but I'm now hearing it, which is so interesting about, okay, that's now we're going into my turn.
Yeah.
So this is time to go to appreciation.
Great.
Yeah. Fantastic. I love this. I love this. I feel the sense of it coming alive. So what I appreciate about this is, well, I think what I'm appreciating about your proposal and the way that you proposed it is like I got the sense that you tuned into something, right? You caught sight of this tuning in, and that in some sense was what was the thing, right? That is to be distinguished, that you're making a proposal about, right?
Yeah, we would just like to make the point again. I think I've said this before. This is not just an intellectual exercise. You actually have to tune into wonder.
Right.
Otherwise, I mean, we can talk a lot about stuff, but I mean, you need to have kind of like an ear, as I said, for what I'm kind of talking about. And
Yeah.
we need to, in the tuning, we have to do the tuning as we are kind of doing the thinking. Like if I just talk about this and then just, you know, am not attuned to anything, then this just doesn't work, I think.
I also really appreciate that, and I think I'm just appreciating and sitting with, this is also what's kind of mysterious to me about this too, that's drawing me in, is this way that the in beings becoming, right, tune of that, the very tune of that becoming is a musicality, and that and that it could be happening, and I could be not attuned to it, not in the state of wonder, right, being in nihilism or whatever's other than wonder, and then attuned to it, and then I realize the music, the sense that the music was already there in some way, and I find myself in it. That seems essential somehow in a way to wonder.
And for me, the tuning also points to participation. So we can tune into it, and then we can exemplify the movement. Yeah. This musical movement. We participate with it, and then we call it catches.
Yeah, it catches.
Yes. But this tuning is really like full participation. So there's no distinction between me and, you know, the thought.
Yeah.
That is just cool. The tuning in and this going into.
I would say, like, what I anticipate about this is that there's something about that's that this direction of it is heading into this something to do with this hiddenness as well, that seems to be so much of what being is about in so many ways, is this kind of way that it hides and reveals itself, but yet still preserves its concealment, right? In some sense, you know, there's something there about that I'm anticipating. And what's mysterious to me I think I want to play with this. This is like, I want to work out what's mysterious to me. So I want to talk through it a little bit and then zero it down to a proposal. So it's this so okay. So with it started off with wonder. Wonder is the natural primordial state of being, or wonder is the birthright of being, right? So that there's something, taking from Sandra, that there's something innate to being itself in wonder, right? And that it's natural to it, like that there's something about, like, maybe when wonder takes the form of my attunement, let's say, like, and I'm feeling wonder, there's something innate to being about that, right? And then so then it went into this sense of that innateness of being is a kind of musicality, right? And that being is a musicality, right? In its becoming, in its continual becoming, and that musicality has a tune, right? And when we attune, right, to that tune, right, wonder, that birthright, that which is innate, is revealed. But I can feel right there that quality of, I know my own experience of wonder is usually has that quality of where I'm going along and I'm like, I find myself in a state of wonder, and it's like something, it always has this quality of something is so incredible, and it had been incredible and I hadn't seen it, and now I'm seeing it, and I'm finding myself already in it, right? So I don't kind of come to it from outside and go, okay, there's wonder over there, and driving it towards here, like, okay, we're gonna 2 miles up, we're gonna go into, it's like, it's more like I'm already past the line, I'm already in it, and then I kind of, the musicality of being shows itself, but part of that showing is this recognition that it wasn't showing itself before, but it was true, right? So kind of something about, like, somebody put it like, I heard somebody put it like this, I don't know if I can recreate it, but he said it's like wonder is something like, it's not awe at necessarily awe at the fantastical, right? Not necessarily. Wonder has more of a quality of, it's like if you've been in a room all your life, and then all of a sudden you lean back against the wall, and then the wall moves, and in that moment you like it reveals a door. And then there's this moment where you're sitting there, right? And you're like, whoa, you're in wonder about it. And the wonder is that which was right underneath your nose, right, was more than you thought, right, in some sense. So kind of there's something about wonder that seems to draw it attunes one to what is most near, right?
Yeah.
That the most, or it does something about where the most ordinary becomes the most extraordinary. So there's this really interesting play of being where it can conceal itself, right? But when you go into wonder, I don't think it's about being just becomes sheerly revealed. I think wonder is something about it discloses, and it makes the concealment of being itself shine, right? It affords being's withdrawal to shine. It doesn't necessarily just draw it naked and it's all sheerly there. It's more like what becomes there is this mystery that you find yourself in and a part of. Something like that.
So, Guy, when you started this out, what you were doing was you were sort of looking in that down, like there, like this, where there was the concealment, and there was a sort of liminal, like you and the what was down there. There was a lot of energy there. It,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
can, what does that movement of, what does that feel like? What's going on there?
Let's see, there's something, as you're talking about, there's something like there's a little bit of a wrestling going on, right?
Yeah.
I'm wrestling with something,
Oh,
and it's the struggle or the playful. It's playful,
mm,
it's joyous, yet there's a tension
mm,
about something. I know there's more here, right?
mm, mhm,
Right.
mhm,
And it's tricky,
mm.
um, but it's drawing me in.
Yeah.
It's drawing me in. Yeah,
So
there's
there's a fascination, would that be a word? Fascination with something
yeah, there's a
unknown?
there's a sense, there's a scent of something here, and it's,
Mm.
I don't know if I'm going to get it, but
There's there's a lot going on there, yeah.
like bruises nonetheless, right through it, right?
So do you have a proposal? Like where would your proposal focus on? Would it, yeah.
Totally. So I want to play on the proposal that was just given to. So wonder is the tune of the musicality of being. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
Wonder. Okay. Wonder. Yes, there's something I want to say. Wonder is the draw
Mm,
of the tune
mm,
of the musicality of being.
mm. The draw of the tune, it's sort of like the siren call of that
Yeah.
sort of, yeah, like that kind of draw, that
Yeah.
mysterious,
Totally.
yeah, yeah.
And it's and where it draws you to, right? The draw is actually close in. It's
Mm,
like it draws to what's most familiar, right? Because there's this way that wonder renders the familiar the most
mm,
exceptional in some
mm,
sense, right?
mhm,
Um,
mhm,
and so I want to say, so it's like there's also this way where wonder is the disposition of being. Um, yeah, wonder is the disposition of being as a tune of the draw of the musicality of being.
mm. As attuned
Yeah,
to, or yeah,
yeah.
attuned to, yeah. Um,
I want to say, but when I look at it, I want to use the word disposition. One is because Heidegger
disposition.
talks about that, right? Is like, and I want to get closer to it, but like, the way that he would say it is, in the dawning of philosophy, right, arises, right, from wonder. And that he talked about for the Greeks, wonder as the disposition. And disposition has it's really this interesting thing where it's like, in some sense, it's like it's a disposition. It's got this quality of embeddedness, right?
Mhm,
And it's it's fully participatory, right?
mhm,
So a disposition is like in some sense the fundamental or grounding way that you turn, right?
mhm,
And So for being to have a disposition, right? It's like most of being is it's kind of like this revealing, concealing quality, this manifesting, but also this hiding quality, right?
Mhm.
So in some sense, wonder as a disposition, in some sense, is attuning to that which is, we start to hear the tune of what's most near. Okay,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
So wonderment is the disposition attuned to what is most near, right? To hear the concealment of the musicality of being. Let's play with that.
So wonder is the disposition to attune to what is most near, to hear, in order to hear the musicality of being. Yeah.
Let's play it with.
Play with that. Yeah. When you're talking, I get very strong images of being in a kind of almost like a cavern where there's echo, there's the sound of sirens calling and female sirens calling and echoing, and kind of the disposition of, hearing that, and where that kind of wonder, just and placing oneself in that echo chamber, almost like, yeah, like in as a offering,
Right.
of, yeah. Mhm.
Right.
Does that
Right.
fit? Does that fit?
That fits.
Yeah. Mhm. So what I appreciate about that is the lack of actual static locality of the of being, of its mysterious and musical quality, and of the disposition that feels innate, to place the disposition to be in this state of wonder, of lack of location, and so forth.
Right.
That's what I appreciate. What where that seems to go for me, what I anticipate, it's a uh, uh, um, the danger and the beauty. It's sort of like both dangerous and beauty to be in this, beautiful to be in this state. It's not all, roses and flowers and so on. There is a danger, as well as sort of wonderful sense of, strong, yeah. And what, it would take courage to actually move into this disposition of wonder, rather than, I know where I am and I know where I'm going, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and in that sense of, because what it attunes you to is actually what is even, like, somehow even prior to you. It's like so close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
you didn't even know it was there. Yeah, it was there before.
that's probably why terror and wonder
Are
are
both, yeah,
inherent,
Yeah.
basically.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. Neat. Wow.
Right. So we'll
Wow.
get going. You want to just keep going in the structure? go another round?
Another
Wonder?
round? Yeah,
I don't
do we have
think
time?
I
Yeah.
don't think I have time for a full round. I have 30
Yeah.
minutes.
Okay. You have
Yeah.
30 minutes? Okay, so we can go, we can go into free speech, or we
Yeah.
can just keep.
Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. Mhm. Mhm. Wow. How's that for free speech?
What's ringing up for you, Daniel? I'm seeing lots of different facial expressions. What's ringing for you?
What? I didn't hear
What's ringing for you over there?
Yeah.
that. The first thing I thought, I had to laugh a lot because I thought, oh, a guy has read a lot of Heidegger recently. It was obvious. But what we didn't say and what's so important, right? This you brought it right. I like the kind of, you leans towards a wall and then you suddenly, there's a door. But kind of what we exemplified is kind of like this remembering, anamnesis. So remembering what is most near.
Mhm.
And what, like, that is remembering, right? All the constituents, the traits of it. So learning to listen,
Mm.
having a kind of attentiveness to this, that this is going on. And then also kind of having the, Heidegger would call it Inständigkeit, which is something like, I think Sternbauer translates this perdurance. So you can follow it. You kind of like, you stand in that element and you follow it. And then virtues are, and there's eros, that's also then important for Heidegger and for Plato. That's kind of like, eros is the traction, because we are drawn to this, and this traction is eros. This man being drawn over himself towards being, that's eros.
Right.
So this is kind of like the eros distraction is like the unfolding within the attunement of wonder. And we also kind of like had that this unfolding is like the tune and the rhythm of this musicality.
Right.
So there was it. Yeah, it was wonderful. Yeah, that's just a few thoughts.
Well, it's maybe interesting to read a little bit of this. What is that part where he talks about wonder?
Talks about on a lot of occasions. Or is it in the lecture course that you're reading?
Yes, the one right now on my channel. See if I can find it. We cannot dwell on this strangeness too often and too long. Therefore, we will reflect anew on what occurs within the realm of our acquaintance with the essence. To say it briefly in advance, acquaintance with the essence is for us as ordinary and necessary as genuine knowledge of the essence appears to be enigmatic and arbitrary. That's not exactly it. The beginning of the essence into view in advance, the grasping of the essence as the bringing forth of the essence of concealment into the light, the productive seeing of essence. Right, so there's that sense of like, to bring this, I think that's the thing, one of the things I'm getting through reading this, their text, it's really we keep circling around and around it, of this holding open the concealment of being, right? But what is that way that we can stand such that that concealment becomes questionable, right? Becomes something that we can see and relate to. And I think that it has a lot to do with the disposition of wonder, right? It's not a sheer nakedness, right? Do you have any more? Table of contents.
We have to insert the kind of advertisement break for the...
Yeah, that's right. We take a commercial break, right?
Yeah.
We make philosophical book advertisement.
Yes.
Here, please, everyone, buy Being in Time by Martin.
Yeah, and if you call this number right now, you'll get a big discount. Yeah,
Right.
plus free gifts.
Right.
Oh.
But I mean, I think, wouldn't you say, like, because you guys are reading about nihilism right now, right? And going into that, it seems to me that, would you say that I mean, it strikes me that if nihilism had an opposite, it would be wonder.
Yeah, we talked. I talked about this with a few of my friends. The thing is, perhaps for the Greeks, being was kind of static, you know, and then only after this long 2,500 years, what Heidegger saw, you know, being this element can change. So there are different attunements, there are different entry points into philosophy, and it has the attunement has changed in our time. So suddenly, right, this boredom. That's also Heidegger talks in one lecture course about boredom. He talks about Schrecken. This is this kind of like this being taken aback.
Yeah.
Something like horror, not horror, but like we taken aback, kind of like being. Oh, no, it's this kind of like I don't know what's going on. This like this. It's a little bit like nihilism suddenly. Because suddenly, right, with speaking with Nietzsche, right, suddenly God is dead, and there's just this boredom, this yawning abyss, And that
Yep.
kind of like freezes you and makes you, oh, what's going on?
Right. Right.
So philosophers, I have this from a book from a German theologian who wrote the book on Heidegger. His name is Lehmann. And he talked about that all philosophers had to resort to talking about the stars and kind of like let's say constellations. So being and like man, they are different constellations. Sometimes they come together and sometimes they do not. And this is then this Seinsgeschichte, the history of being, the weirdness of being, how being throws itself towards man. And this has different elements, like when, right, sometimes the earth is far away from the star, like the sun, and sometimes the earth is closer, and that produces kind of different states of in this.
Right.
And that's kind of like what this bringing history and different constellations into this whole thing is, that seemed that only Hegel and Heidegger did this, nobody else until now.
Right.
And it couldn't, it again, for the Greeks, because for the Greeks, they were just in astoundment. They couldn't see this other side. This only we can, because we are in nihilism, in this kind of like epoch of nihilism, we can see different things.
Right.
We can see, let's say, the cacophony of this. We can see this element turning against itself from a Heideggerian. So again, this is a kind of Heideggerian perspective on the whole thing. So being can turn against itself. There is really there's this as well, this likelihood or unlikelihood.
Yeah, I found that part. Is that the negativity of the distress as a not knowing, the way out or the way in, the whence and whether as the open between of the undifferentiatedness of being and non-beings. He says, reflecting on the necessity of the beginning of Occidental thinking, a beginning in which the essence of truth as the basic character of beings had to flame up, only to expire once again. This reflection is a historical one. It has value not in applying the past to ourselves, but only insofar as we enter into the history of the essence of truth, i.e., insofar as we have an ear for the demand of this hidden history, for its future, by turning the essence of truth into what is most worthy of questioning, and doing so on the basis of a genuine necessity. The reflection addresses the necessity of our question of truth, out of which alone the direction and the domain of the questioning are determined, as well as what is to be founded as the essence of truth. For the character of the necessity of such questioning, we require a sure eye. We will procure it, and only through reflection on the beginning and its necessity. This necessity springs forth out of a need. The need compels in the mode of a disposition. Therefore, it's important to say something in advance about the need and disposition, in order then to characterize the basic disposition of primordial thinking, of wonder, being wonder. Here we are constantly subject to the danger of making a norm out of our ordinary, habitual, and everyday experience and interpretation of need, necessity, and position. We are now seeking what these same words name at the beginning of Western thought, and that it is always incompatible with our everyday understanding. Need is for us ordinarily a lack, something negative. We immediately judge the negative, however, in a depreciatory way as the adverse, pure, and simple. Thus, our only relation to its defense and elimination. Now, everything negative is in fact determined by a no and a not, but not every no and not, the negative, is nothingness. Need is the essential sense and is indeed something negative, and yet not nothing, which we can only be content with eliminating or avoiding. Need compels us into the between of the undifferentiatedness. It first casts asunder what can be differentiated within this undifferentiatedness. Insofar as this need takes hold of man, it displaces him into the undecided between of a still undifferentiated beings and non-beings, as such in his whole. By this displacement, however, man does not simply pass unchanged from a previous place to a new one, as if man were a thing that could be shifted from one place to another. Instead, this displacement places man for the first time into the decision of the most decisive relation to beings and non-being. These relations bestow on him the foundation of a new essence. This need displaces man in the beginning of a foundation of his essence. I say adversedly a foundation, for we can never say that it is the absolute one. Right? That's kind of what you were just getting at right there, right? Is that kind of what started to shine through for Heidegger and Hegel is like, no, being is the static thing. It's a wiggly thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
that I like that. It wiggles.
It wiggles, right? It wiggles.
And you know, the image that I have of you, like in this position, it's not you as a static thing. This movement, this investigation, this is you. This is where you're.
Yeah.
Are. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
And that distress he's talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there is danger. Yes, there is danger. We've seen the danger manifest itself. It continues to.
Oh yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
Totally.
There's great danger.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so for Plato and Heidegger, it's like if we cannot listen any longer to this, let's say the musicality of being, if we forget that tune, then we are again trapped in the cave.
Yeah.
And there's just the cacophony of shadows. There's just
yeah.
And then man becomes again brutal. Then man becomes more violent and so on. That's kind of like that's kind of what follows from that.
Yes. So it's interesting. You kind of go through these stages of wonder. One is admiration. One is astonishment and awe. Next one is
terror.
And wonder what is most usual itself becomes most unusual. And wonder what is most usual of all and in all, in whatever manner this might be, becomes the most unusual.
Yeah.
The most extreme wonder knows no way out of the unusual, of what is most usual. Wonder knows no way into the unusualness of what is most usual. Wonder as between the usual and the unusual. the eruption of the usualness of the most usual in the transition of the most usual into the most unusual. What alone is wondrous, being as beings. Wonder displaces man into the perception of beings as beings, into the sustaining of unconcealedness.
Mm.
Wonder as the basic disposition belongs to the most unusual. I think in some sense that's what we're doing in
Yeah.
dialectic and
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I was just thinking about this.
Mhm. There's a disposition that we're taking that's zeroing in on what is most unusual, right?
Mhm, mhm,
Uncanny, or but yet is still speaking
mhm.
and beckoning it forward.
Mhm.
Wonder displaces man into and before beings as such. Such displacing is the proper disposing of the basic disposition. We call it the basic disposition because in disposing, man is displaced, or man, like in disposing, man, it displaces him into that on which and in which word, work and deed as historical can be based and history can begin. The basic disposition, however, can neither be simply brought out by man's will, nor is it the effect of a cause issuing from beings and operating on man. This displacement is beyond explanation, for all explanation here necessarily falls short and comes too late, since it could only move within and would have to appeal to something that was first encountered as unconcealed in the displacement that casts asunder. All explanation is directed to some being already unconcealed, from which alone an explanatory cause can be drawn. The basic disposition of wonder displaces man into the realm where the most usual, yet still as such unthought, are established in their most proper usualness, namely the one of their being, and where beings as such then become the most worthy of questioning. The basic question, the basic disposition itself belongs to what is most unusual and most rare. Insofar as man can at all by himself bring about a relationship to it, he can make himself ready for the unconditional necessity that holds sway in this disposition and admits of no escape. Wonder is the basic disposition that primordially disposes man into the beginning of thinking, because before all else, it displaces man into the essence whereby he then finds himself in the midst of beings as such and as whole, and finds himself caught up in them. Yeah. Analysis of wonder is the retrospective sketch of displacement of man into beings as such. Because it is just something, if you really think about how it came to be, right? That, especially when you think of the radical difference of a kind of mythopoetic basis, right? Of early civilization, like right? And somebody starting to, it becomes, something starts, like somebody goes, well, what's the through line through all this? Right? That had never happened right? That had never,
No.
that it never occurred to anybody to do that. But so it's so radical, like, and he's right. You can't explain it, right?
Mhm.
There's no cause for it that you can come up with. Something turned,
Mhm, mhm.
and it's that very beginning of thinking in this way that we literally live inside of now. We live
Yeah.
inside the consequences of it.
Yeah. And all the other ways of being, of thinking are in the subconscious. That's where they come out in dreams, but you know, they're in the unconscious. They've been pushed there.
Totally.
Yeah.
So it's incredible to think about that, right?
Yeah, they're
Really.
still there, but we're unconscious of them. Mhm.
Yeah. Yep. All right, you guys. Good hanging with you.
Great. So not next Monday, Guy, right? Because you're
Uh,
away.
No, I think I can do next Monday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's it. You're right. Next Monday is
You're in Toronto.
this week. That's right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I
So no
don't
next Monday.
I don't have
after that.
time in 2 weeks on Monday. I don't have time.
Okay.
I will end the recording with